Hi, this is Tom Lydon, editor of ETF Trends here in Chicago at the Morningstar ETF Conference. And I'm here with Kieran Kirwan, who's Director of Investment Strategy at ProShares. Great seeing you, Kieran.
Tom, great to see you also. Thanks for having us.
We had the pleasure of doing a webcast together a few weeks back, and we talked about the importance of global dividend investing. I know that's something that you folks spend a lot of time on.
Absolutely. We've wrapped a number of products around the simple but powerful investment concept of dividend growth. Not only finding those companies that pay a dividend, but those companies that actually grow a dividend on a year-over-year basis, and have found it to be a very powerful and effective investment strategy.
Now, you've partnered with Ned Davis on some of these specific strategies, correct?
We have. We've looked at a number of different studies from Ned Davis, and what they do is something very simple. They separate out companies into their dividend-paying characteristics. So looking at companies that pay a dividend, looking at companies that grow a dividend, looking at companies that don't pay a dividend, and then looking at companies that cut their dividends. And over time, it's a really simple message. Those companies that are able to grow their dividends outperform all others.
So you were explaining earlier in the MSCI EFA index, which you have one of your ETFs that addresses that area, there are 900 securities, and after you go through that process and just determine which ETFs make the cut, that consistently grow, you come down to how many?
52 names. So a very elite group of companies that are able to grow their dividends on a year-over-year basis for 10 consecutive years. It's certainly one option to own the whole index. Many people have that need in their investment portfolios. But we have found, again, when you focus on just those companies that are able to grow their dividends, it's a great indication of return potential.
When you shared the difference in the performance of the index, albeit backdated, it was unbelievable to see the difference just by cutting out those firms that don't pay dividends and those that have cut their dividends. Forget about those that have even grown their dividends. Those who are consistent is somewhat decent. So it's amazing today. Here's just another great example of an ETF smart beta strategy that is pretty simple in nature, but the average advisor or average investor just doesn't have the tools or the research available to them to do themselves, right?
Absolutely. Investing on an international basis, very difficult thing to do. When you do it in a purely active form, you need a lot of research, you need a lot of boots on the ground, so to speak. With a smart beta-like strategy that just focuses on dividend growth as a stock selection signal, you can very easily and conveniently narrow that list down to a small and manageable group of companies that is a well-diversified portfolio that gets you, again, a great potential to outperform in one single ticket.
That's great. So that Dividend EFA ETF, what's the ticker symbol?
EFAD, EFAD we like to call it in-house. And it just focuses on those companies within the MSCI EFA index that have grown their dividends for 10 consecutive years.
And the current yield is about?
Somewhere around 3%. And that's really a story that we like to tell now. As investors are starved for yield, looking for yield, we found that you can go abroad to get a little more yield than you can domestically and still get that international exposure, get that potential for outperformance with some pretty good valuations right now, I might add.
And in general, valuations compared to the US at 18, 19?
Yeah, no matter which kind of metric you look at, from a PE, from a price to book perspective, even from a more sophisticated CAPE type of ratio, the U.S. looks a little bit expensive relative to historical measures. You can often find better valuations with some international and global strategies, and to do it in a high quality manner like EFAD offers, again, in our view, is a pretty timely idea.
Great. Kieran, great seeing you again.
Thanks, Tom, for having us. Great to be here.
Appreciate it.